Carl. We're so bored. I think he's out there checking stuff, right? Carl's right here. He's line checking. Back up. It's now. We're gonna go right now. You gotta go right now. Ted, we gotta go now. We have to go now. It doesn't matter. He's really far away. There it is. There we go. Do a good job. There are very few things that are negative about being an independent artist, but they are very negative. The biggest one is just that you don't have access to major media. And so I do wonder if it's possible for an independent artist to become a household name. At every turn, it seems like at least, people in the industry have tried to explain to me why it is that I must be stopped, or why it is that it's impossible for me to go any farther than I've gone. Zach, can you sing the melody? 1, 2, 3. Am I wasting my time? Wonder where am I going? Wanna leave you behind. I am counting the miles that roll on as I go. Now the whites of my eyes have turned red as I hold on to staying awake as I'm riding away. Hope my strength will hold out. Heaven knows I'm afraid. When you're an independent artist, you can say, I want to do this. I want to go on tour and hire these people and travel in this way with this kind of production. And we're going to spend my money, so it's fine. For me, anything that I want to do that I feel is justified, I can do. We're playing with my chips. And so if I want to gamble, we can gamble. I was able to hire the musicians I wanted to hire and to bring along the crew I wanted to create this experience, not just for the fans because I thought that they would enjoy it, but also for myself because I felt that it would fulfill me artistically. So I started calling all of these guys like, hey, do you think you might want to come on the road with me? Do you think you might be able to fit it in your schedule? And everybody was like, hell yeah, let's go.
Did you plan a Mexican night?
Not yet.
Dude, I'll do a Mexican night. I'm gonna do a chili night.
Chili night is one thing, but there's also what I was talking about, not that.
Ron originally was like, do you want to come on this tour? And then a few weeks later, he's like, what do you think about, he started talking about Jackson Browne's Running on Empty, and he's like, what do you think about recording a record where it's primarily recorded, live shows, or at least on the road, at hotel rooms, on the bus and stuff like that. And I was like, that's a fantastic idea.
There's a space between the artist and the fans when you're in the studio. You're kind of creating your music in a vacuum because there's no fans there to hear it. The energy of a live performance is what I was hoping to capture in all of this. This was a summer they would never recover from, and they didn't know then it was the time of their lives. No, they didn't know then it was the time of their lives. Once I got some of these dates together for the tour, I knew that I had to create music to showcase what it was that I heard in each of them that was so special. And so I felt like we needed a band name. Well, Ron wanted to have a name for the band.
This is where I just started becoming
the band that he's always wanted to sort of put together. And yeah, the chain about the
Ron
names.
Pope in the Dirt. Ron Pope and the Embers, Ron Pope and the Finders, Ron Pope and the Weathered Ropes, Ron Pope and the Besties.
Didn't somebody like Weathered Ropes? I think Weathered Ropes was actually floated for a minute.
We ended up with the name the Nighthawks as a nod to two things that have each heavily influenced me. The Hawks, who are my favorite ensemble players, they went on to become the band, and Nighthawks at the Diner, which is a Tom Waits album, and Tom Waits is one of my very favorite songwriters.
Indie artists today have to really work and they have to really strive for their craft. It's more difficult now because there's not that helping hand like, oh, I'm talented, look out world, I'm gonna get signed by a record label, they're gonna make me huge and famous. Now it's a lot more work yourself, but you own everything now and it's all yours. All of the intellectual property is yours. This is your creation.
Well, I crossed an ocean and I found myself alone. Just a pen and paper, no one else to wait to call. For my hard times and the dark nights, I wish that I could go back home.
Should I bring out the antipasto?
You put that on the table, we need some kind of like,
Imagine I just drop this. Boom! That's funny. I know. Like you're fired. Get on the plane. Wow.
stuff that I never seen. Friendship over.
You can create a career for yourself without any label, money, and support at all. You could create hits that people stream millions and millions of times and make a great deal amount of money for yourself if you own your masters. He's creating that path, you know? He's creating something that is very uniquely himself.
I've been excited about this for a very long time. New friends, and old friends, and family, and everybody all together. I'm excited to make the record, I'm excited to do the tour, and I'm glad that we're all here to share this kind of crazy thing together. So, to rock and roll.
To rock and roll.
Cheers. Cheers, cheers, cheers.
So now it's funny that Carl and I, like, we work together, we're always together. When we were...
He slept on the cot in my room.
When I was 16, I lived at his house, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now we used to steal his CDs and listen to the Dr. Dre Chronic 2001. Next episode, just bumping it.
My grandmother, she would be frying these meatballs. And people would just come to the house all day. Friends and family and just all sorts of people just always coming in. And so we both learned to make the meatballs.
We learned that Monday lunch was meatball sandwiches.
The first night I wanted to make the meatballs because I thought, like, what else could I do to, like, say hello and welcome to this?
You're here.
Your family.
Your family.
No, I don't believe in angels. No. So it's like...
Engine quiet in the cool of the morning as she raced across her daddy's lawn.
The first day we got here, we were able to just set up. We moved in the Hammond organ and the grand piano and a Rhodes and all of our amps, all of our guitars, all these other instruments. Even in a really nice studio, sometimes it's not that easy because we don't have all that available comfortably.
In New York, when you're doing rehearsals by the hour, it's like the definition of session work. And to just be in Georgia, hanging out in the house is like ideal. It's like really unusually luxurious feeling.
And I think that everybody knows that it's probably the coolest way to make a record because you're capturing not just the excitement, but the brotherhood of being on tour together and playing together all the time.
And I think that's the idea with the record, is to make it feel like a band and have some of that rawness of not being in a studio, you know, with headphones on and the whole thing.
America in front of us, nothing left behind, just praying for a shot at redemption, wondering what's on the other side. And I know some call us devils, some call us fools. I do not believe in angels, but I may believe in you.
As a producer, one of the things that is kind of a defining characteristic of the way that I like to make records is that I want to bring in guys that I really like the way that they play, and I trust their instincts, and then kind of let them go. You should hire people who you think are going to do things that you find exciting and inspiring. Zach Bergman was a freshman in college when I was a senior. And so he came into our songwriters group, he sat down, he took out his guitar, and he played his song. And when he was finished, I stood up and I said, you're with me. That was it. That's how we became friends. Like, I drafted him. Even when he was 18 years old and he was really kind of a raw songwriter, I was like, this is a kid that could really do something. He can be something.
I guess in my career with Ron, I have played as many roles as you can play. I've been in the band, I produced the first handful of records, I've written a ton of the tunes.
And when the clouds come to take the mountains, it's 'cause there's nowhere else to go. And when the rain pours like a fountain, feels like I'm up against the road.
The song One Way Ticket came to us as we were out in the boat, and I saw the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and the clouds were kind of coming over them. And I said, the clouds are capturing the mountains. And Ron goes, I want that one. Which is like, you know, we better write a song around that or else he's just gonna take it. Because one time I said a thing, and then he said, I'm gonna take that one, and then it was just a quote of me and I got no writing credit.
Like, when he comes to my house and he plays me a song idea, if it's for him, he has to start by saying, this is mine, you cannot have it. Because otherwise I will steal it. Zach and I were swimming in the lake. We started kind of spitting out little tidbits back and forth while we were trying not to drown. And then we went back to the boat and we sang it to the fellas who, you know, put up an iPhone so that we could voice memo it. I said, we should write that song. We have a lot of it done. Go figure out what the chords are underneath that, work it out, and change some things. So he went upstairs with AB.
To teach me everything it knows, or show me everything it knows. The rain has the answer, right? The rain is wise.
When the rain pours like a fountain, teaches me everything it knows. In my life. In my life's wondering too.
Yeah, that's still.
Teach me every. I don't think the rain's that wise.
No, and it's not solving the lyric problem at all.
No, it totally isn't. Like, I feel like I'm on the ropes. But if my life's
it's like I'm up against the ropes.
It's like I'm up against the ropes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels like I'm up against the ropes. And if my life's a one-way ticket, then I know which way I'll go.
Verse 2.
And then, so what I think we do is, so go chorus, then we go fiddle solo, then we go down to that verse. And so we could probably work out an arrangement where essentially it's just that and a fiddle.
Upright.
And maybe we don't even need the upright. Like, it might be rad to just have the acoustic guitar and the fiddle, and so we sing the verses in 3-part, and then we teach everybody the chorus and have a big group chorus, and maybe in the chorus also Alan can play accordion.
So cool. Yeah.
When the clouds come to take the mountains, it's 'cause there's nowhere else to go. And when the rain pours like a fountain, feels like I'm up against the ropes. But if my life's a one-way ticket, then I know which way I'll go.
Fiddle solo.
I think Ron's a great songwriter. I really do. He really gets the craft of songwriting. Like, I make pop songs that have literally hundreds of tracks in them. The point is, we have all that. It's all window dressing. You know, it doesn't matter if you don't have the real goods, which is real storytelling. It's really interesting from my vantage point the way that he can process an idea and immediately funnel it into sort of a great lyric or something very good and poetic.
Yeah, I think it becomes a different thing than like playing.
Yeah, I don't know like if everybody knows it. I mean, it's one of those, but
yeah, I don't know. Blair has always been involved in my career in some way. You know, we started to date, and she kind of always was advising me. She knew a lot about branding and marketing and has really shaped a lot of the music over the years.
we started dating 7.5 years ago, and when I first started helping him, I was like, so you're doing this all wrong. At least if you have some
memory.
I know, but you'll forget everything.
No, well, I have the memory. It's in my phone. Over the years, it went from her advising me on this or that as a problem would come up, to her doing everything. And so we realized it always worked better when she was in charge, when she could handle the business, because she had, I don't know, she just had the right mindset for it, and she cares. And, you know, she has always been invested in it.
I don't think that this setup would work for everybody, but we're really lucky that we can have a great business working relationship, and we also can coexist in a fully functioning relationship marriage.
So are we trying to do this meet and greet on the floor downstairs right now, or what?
Yes, in 3 minutes.
Okay.
I guess we can bring them up in the balcony and like do the actual like meet and greet up here.
Okay, cool. So wrangle them, bring them to Blair at the merch, and then the boys and I will be in the balcony. And then do I have Sharpies and shit like that? Okay, meet me up here, Carl.
A lot of people like to ask me how Ron made a name for himself, and I think most people overlook the hard work that we've put into it. There's a ton of things that we do on a daily basis. There's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's YouTube. If there's something new that comes up, like when Spotify first came up, we were the first ones to jump on board and say, yes, this is a great platform, and we would love to spread the music this way too.
Big smiles, 1, 2, 3, and...
The term independent artist can mean a lot of things. You can be signed to an independent label and be an independent artist. I am a completely independent artist. No record label, no publisher, no boss at all, except for Blair.
Ready to play a show? Let's go to work.
Is there water on the stage?
What am I, an asshole? Come on, man.
Pee before we go.
He's just gonna shower real quick.
Doing this every single day for 5 years.
He's gotta grab a shower real quick. What do you need right now?
Zach and I wrote a song together a long time ago, and it's changed my life, and it's taken us all over the place, and it probably brought a lot of you to me. If we play one more song that you know, will you all sing it with us? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. A drive in the ocean, a change in the weather. I was praying that you and me might end up together. It's like wishing for rain as I stand in the desert, but I'm holding you closer than most, 'cause you are mine.
Ron wrote A Drop in the Ocean back in 2005 or so and put it up on MySpace maybe a couple of years later.
Largely up until A Drop in the Ocean hit, I was kind of screaming into the abyss. You know, there weren't people listening. But I was actively pursuing fans by playing shows. I was actively pursuing fans on the internet. I was writing people individual notes saying, hey, will you listen to these songs and give me your honest opinion on them? Like, I sat and did that every day for a long time with nobody writing back, with a lot of people like, It's just a drop in the ocean, changing the weather. I was praying that you and me might end up together. It's like one day, I got to a place where I was getting about 100 plays every day on MySpace. And then, by the end of that week, it was 1,000. And then the next week, it was 10,000. And then it was 100,000.
We had fans coming from all different directions telling us that they were discovering it. They were sharing it on their MySpace pages. They were sharing it anywhere that they could.
And that was really unbelievable for me. And it's something that couldn't have happened at any other time in the history of recorded music.
You still having fun? You still with us? Y'all want to sing it one more time? 1, 2, 3, 1, just a drop in the ocean, a change in the weather. I was praying that you and me might end up together. It's like
this point, A Drop in the Ocean has sold a couple of million singles. It's got 30 some odd million plays on Spotify and 100 million plays on YouTube. It's just like, it's staggering the scale at which this song has grown and continues to grow. Major labels started to circle around me when I was 23 years old because I started to sell a lot of music online. I was excited at the prospect of working with a major label because I hoped that they would give me access to major media, as they told me that they would. But I guess I was naive because they didn't care and they didn't have any desire to help me create any kind of momentum or forward motion. I care so deeply about what I'm doing that this was the most frustrating time in my life.
Everyone playing the tremolo?
No, I'm not.
How does your guitar sound? Let me hear how you sound.
Slap and reverb.
What are you doing? I have a dirty disc just so it's like...
When you put together a band full of awesome musicians who all play really well, they're going to follow their instincts. And I think what Ron was trying to do was really kind of shake it up. He wanted it to sound like a dirty rock and roll band. It took us a while to get around to get to that.
Basically, my note on every single song on there that has any energy to it is like, make more grit, create more grit.
Yeah, these instruments sound like modern pop instruments to me.
I don't think this is like a clean John Mayer arrangement at all, though. Do you? I mean...
Yeah, I do.
You do? Oh.
Yeah, me too. If we're leaning like not slick and there's something we could do to not do it, like you're allowed to reference stuff.
I don't want us to feel like we're trying to ape anything. I just want it to feel like, I want it to feel cool and I want it to feel tougher.
I think with Ron, he's managing everything. He has Blair and he has Carl. Sometimes he's just not able to focus on one aspect of a job because he is overseeing everything.
We can get a little bit more room going and get a sound there where we're all like, okay, that's what our drums sound like. And then add the bass and make sure that it's the right vibe and creating a thing and they're together and like really build one thing at a time. I think in a half hour, we can create a sonic palette that we're stoked about, that we're not afraid of. Like right now, I don't think that we're hearing a mix that sounds like the record that any of us are imagining that we're making, and I think that's becoming a problem.
The recordings that we've already made, none of them are, I don't think at least, none of them are like in a place where he can work them over to make them good enough to go on the record. You know, they're brand new and I'm involved in playing and singing on them, you know, at the same time. If I'm in the midst of it and participating in it, it's harder for me to produce. I've had to like take those recordings that he gave me and sit and listen to them and think about arrangement changes. So with a lot of them, it's just that. It's like, I need to change the arrangements. And then we got on stage and we delivered these songs and the arrangements continued to evolve throughout the tour. We had to keep figuring it out.
I said goodbye to Los Angeles, then I boarded the plane, searching for a version of myself before the pain. And the players in my story, they still look much the same, but the boys I used to laugh with, I am watching as they change.
It's hard to go out to dinner and say, let's not talk about work, because then we're like, all right, so what do you want to talk about now? Because this is our life.
You can't just have a great idea and write great songs and go, I can do this. You know, you have to do all of the other steps as well yourself. It's a very wild ride to go through because you have to really believe in yourself then.
With a hint of desperation in my voice, 'cause I'm sure.
When it comes to the overall revenue that people, whether it be labels or artists, are going to make, I think what we're seeing is a return to when people had to be road warriors. You had to tour a ton. Your money was going to come off of ticket sales. It was going to be coming off of merch sales and things like that.
And we grow cold, we're afraid, so we stay, feeling things we just can't say. It is hard enough when you are standing out there all alone.
It's so difficult when you're on the road all the time to have a life. It's just hotel, next venue, same set list. It's very difficult. It's like Groundhog Day.
Overshadowed by success, I do not think I have earned it, so I'm fraying at the edges, and my seams have come undone. So I wonder when enough is enough. Think about that dancer in her rapture in the dark. My longing for her answer, for some beauty or a spark, and that never-ending hunger. She lay there in my arms, moving forwards, looking backwards, still unsure of what we are. We grow up, we grow old, we move on and we grow cold. We're afraid, so we stay, feeling things we just can't say. It is hard enough when you are standing out there all alone, and the ones you love are changing into strangers, and the ones you love are changing into strangers.
Do you guys want to sing? Again.
Carl, ask him again.
Do you want to sing?
I felt like that was good. You feel you.
Cousin Carl, guitar tech, comma, tour manager, comma, merch manager, comma, hype man. Period.
Yeah.
You all buying the new t-shirt yet?
Yes,
Good.
so much. People love the new t-shirt.
Blair, we got a model. We didn't.
I know. Tomorrow we will.
I'll do my hair just right, Tim.
Yeah.
The world can see me.
The world.
The world.
The whole world. You don't know? Semi-famous in
The
certain
guy that
places.
brought you was like, "Why aren't you doing more stuff to promote him?" I'm like, "I am."
Did you say I'm not doing my job? Is that was
You're
correct?
like,
You're not doing your
really,
job.
you're like, mostly we just sit in the house.
I was like, "Well, we're trying really hard."
Does he want a job? He could be the marketing manager.
Yeah.
No. No more people.
Yeah, go. You know, I think people don't understand. It's like if you believe in your music and you think that it's worth something, that it's good, you want to reach as many people as possible. What does Grandma say? Bigger than the Beatles, bigger than Elvis.
Yeah.
You want to be the biggest thing, otherwise.
What are you doing?
We have like. People want to like hold me up as the example of you can survive as an independent artist, like and thrive and have a career. To some extent, my career is an example of the fact that you can find a ceiling very, eventually you find a ceiling. I was writing program directors personally in a couple of select markets when Lick My Wounds came out. I was going to go on tour. And I was like, hey, I'm coming to the market, listen to the single and tell me what you think. And this is me personally writing you a letter rather than the radio people. And so one guy who I had gotten in touch with was like, I'm such a big fan of yours. I really like this. This is so good. And I was like, cool. Like, can you spin it? Can you add it? Can people hear it? And he was like, keep doing what you're doing. I'm like, keep doing what I'm doing? I'm trying to keep doing what I'm doing. That's why I need you to play the fucking song on the radio, man.
Radio is still the kingmaker. If you want to stand on top of the mountain, you need to be on the radio.
I left a letter so they weren't confused. When you blow this town and it's front page news.
When you have a top 10 hit on American pop radio, you access between 80 and 100 million people in a week. There's a reason why everybody that you see on the Grammys is somebody that you hear on the radio.
He used to speak to me in Bible quotes, and the wrath of God rang from his throat.
80% of the people still listen to commercial terrestrial radio. It's like any other business. You want to expose your product to the largest audience you possibly can.
Without the assistance of a major label or some large corporation, you can't access those people.
As an individual, it's almost impossible. You need a huge promotion person or someone that has that relationship with that radio station that can convince them this is an artist you should be paying attention to.
Until I see you light. I want a little more love to get me through the night.
We have to talk about the revolution that happened, where people stopped buying music and people started downloading music for free. That affected the record companies, that affected everything from distribution all the way across the board. So I think the record companies are much more conservative today on what they produce. That's created a conservative edge on the radio side of breaking a record. No one wants to take a chance. They want to be very safe as opposed to being exploratory.
Streaming now offers that variety and that ability to explore that radio used to offer. Streaming music makes it easier and quicker to get people the music you love that they've never heard of before. With terrestrial radio, you can't really dig into that music, and the world of streaming really fills that void for people who don't want to be limited in what they can hear, who they can hear, and how much they can hear.
Streaming is probably the worst and the best thing that has happened to the music industry. It is a very imperfect system. A lot of labels, a lot of middleman companies take huge percentages of cuts, advertising, all of that stuff.
Record label deals are always going to be important for artists, but keep in mind a record label deal is the label choosing what they think is best music and who's going to be successful. We built a platform that allows artists to be independent. They get to make their decisions, and you can record any type of music and see if it will be successful out there.
We get a lot of people that find Ron through Spotify or Pandora, either through the related artist tab or the radio tab, or their friend has told them about a song and then they tell a friend and they tell a friend and they tell a friend.
One of the really interesting things about streaming music's explosion and social media is that in different areas people can latch on to different songs. We played at a festival in Sweden and thousands of people were singing along to I Don't Mind If You Don't Mind, which is kind of a B-side from the New England sessions that I put out years ago. And then in New York recently, we played our song for the first time in years, and everybody in the audience seemed to know it and sang along. It was unbelievable.
This day and age, your back catalog becomes really, really important. That's why you have to keep creating as an artist, because people click your name. They click play and they listen to every song you've ever written. And that gives you a play on every song. And it makes your content have to be great. You can't just release a whatever record. How many times have you bought something in a store and you go, wow, for a couple of tracks were great? That won't happen anymore. You have to make every track great. It's a lot more pressure on artists and songwriters.
You don't really know what song fans are going to gravitate towards, because it's not just one record and, coming from one place. It's a whole bunch of things all at the same time. And so some nights you'll play a song and it'll be 10,000 people singing along with you. And then the next night, crickets.
When people really like something, it can spread faster than it ever has in history. All of us who are exploring music and curating our own kind of diet of art have the ability to really influence what our friends are checking out. We're seeing this great shift of power from gatekeepers, from radio programmers, from record label executives, from old media titans, to everyday people. That explains why an artist like Ron, without having the blockbuster hit single of the year, has nevertheless been able to make this incredible career for himself, in large part from revenue coming off of streaming music services. He was really the first American musician I'm aware of who had built an enormous following on Spotify before it was even here.
My fans are unbelievable. They follow me Wherever we go, you know, I want to make a concept album with a bunch of crazy electronic noise and an orchestra and, you know, songs with movements like classical pieces. They took it and they were like, yeah, let's go. This is what we're doing now. And when I said, I want to play brand new songs that no one has ever heard before live on stage, they went, cool, now we're doing this. And I think that's not something that every artist is allowed to have. A lot of people's fans would not give them that much leeway. And also, we pay for it, and so we can decide to do anything. If the fans want us to come to Ohio, we'll go to Ohio.
I love Ron's fans. Ron's fans are everything to us. They have taken us from zero to where we are today. Hopefully, they'll help us along the rest of the way.
Just go get the sign. You believe me? I'm gonna be here. Go.
This just happened.
Oh, you got kisses. You got kisses.
You have kisses on your face. Look at this. Oh my god. All I had to do was get Ron's signature. This girl just grabbed me. And I was like, okay. Yeah, look in a mirror. It's crazy. Is this ridiculous?
She got it.
All right, nice.
She said, tell me if you missed me. Spare me all your stories. We do not have much time. From somewhere in the distance, another place is calling me, and soon I'll say goodbye. But in the warm glow of a street lamp, I was watching as she slept. I brought a bottle of champagne, and she laid naked as the last time that we met. And with her lips upon my fingers, and then my hands dug in her waist, we awake to find that all we ever needed was the thing we pushed aside.
While we were on the road, I think we started to realize that the idea for the tour or the songs, that wasn't creating the Nighthawks. We were creating the Nighthawks every night by getting on stage and performing this music and learning what it would be like to have one voice, to have a sound. It went from us performing these songs that I wrote by myself to us creating the music together. And so when we came home, we started to create recordings in the studio because we kept evolving.
But in the warm glow of a street lamp, I was watching as she slept. I brought a bottle of champagne, and she laid naked as the last time that we met. And with her lips upon my fingers, and then my hands dug in her waist, we awake to find that all we...
This album's really unique, and we're trying to make it a unique experience for the listeners and for the fans and for us, and we're really pushing our own boundaries, and there's no restrictions on it, and I'm trying to help foster that. I want him to walk away with this saying, that's the best record that I could make. That's the best record that I've ever made. I would love to be part of the best Ron Pope album that exists.
That acoustic version of Hotel Room, I imagine, is like the one I would want on the record. It's really beautiful. But I'm gonna keep trying it live we have 5 more shows.
I don't know what's gonna happen next. Not just with my own career, but with everybody in the music industry. I don't know where the next kid is gonna come from and how he's gonna find an audience. As the music industry changes, how are people going to build their audiences? And how are great artists going to reach people?
We got all these songs to the level that they're at, 2 that are to the progress. Oh.
Oh, Cleveland.
In the end, it's about your goals. Like, I want to stand on top of the mountain. When I was a little kid, I wanted to be a rock star. I think a lot about that. Like, what does it take to go the rest of the way?
You planned on having this be a night where you were gonna go home sober, and then you were gonna get up tomorrow and you were gonna go to work. I would let that plan go. And tonight I would let it ride, because I'm gonna let it ride. That's what I'm here. What do you think, Bo? You gonna let it ride tonight?
I'm gonna let it ride.
Bo's gonna let it ride. Hambone, you gonna let it ride?
Of course I'm gonna let it ride.
Skeeter, you gonna let it ride?
Yeah, I'm gonna let it ride.
Yeah, we're gonna let it ride. Y'all feel like you wanna let it ride tonight?
1, 2, White River Junction. Way up north, there's someplace cold. I can feel your heartbeat. Through your dress, I pull you close.
It was exciting to take these songs and share them with people. You could see people reacting to these brand new songs and go, oh, this is going to be one of mine.
Somewhere far away from home. Last I recall, Chateau Marmont. It was 5 in the morning. You were calling the cops, and I'd been awake for a couple of days. Cocaine, cocaine, cocaine. White River Junction. Way up north, there's someplace cold. I can feel your heartbeat. Through your dress, I pull you close. The sun's coming up real soon, and I don't know where we should go. White River Junction. Way up north, somewhere far away from home. So you towed the line while I drink my wine. Spent all our money just biding my time, till you could escape, or till I passed away. Cocaine, cocaine, cocaine. White River Junction. Way up north, there's someplace cold. I can feel your heartbeat. Through your dress, I pull you close. The sun's coming up real soon, but I don't know where we should go. White River Junction. Way up north, somewhere far away from home. There's the snow-filled Chelsea Hotel on the sidewalk, staring upwards until I was compelled to be on my way. Only lies that now remain. Cocaine, cocaine, cocaine. Cocaine, cocaine, cocaine. White River Junction. Way up north, there's someplace cold. I can feel your heartbeat. Through your dress, I pull you close. The sun's coming up real soon. I don't know where we should go. White River Junction. Way up north, somewhere far. White River Junction. Way up north, there's someplace cold. I can feel your heartbeat. Through your dress, I pull you close. The sun's coming up real soon, and I don't know where we should go. White River Junction. Way up north, somewhere far. White River Junction. Way up north, somewhere far away from home.
Where are we going now? Are we running out of gas? I promise I'll swim that.
We're really running out of gas right now?
Out of gas.
Really? This is not a joke.
I'll swim back. I'll push it back. I'll swim back.
This is not a joke right now.
We only ran out of the other tank.
The other tank? We have a backup tank, right? Oh my God!
We took the boat out and we did not know that it had no gas in it. So we ran out of gas in the middle of the lake. And so the guys are all in the lake pushing and pulling the boat home, which is awesome.
Hey Blair, somebody put Corona. Tell him what to put in the meatballs.
Fuck the meatballs, bro. Look what we're doing right now.
He's got him into the gun. It's a long swim. We'll get there. There's a lot of us. It's a journey. For the love of God. But that's for meatballs.
Yeah, that was...
Whoa. We made it.
We did it.
Holy shit.
Guys, that was ridiculous.
I need my glasses.
That was one that
was well deserved.
All right.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, ready.
Somebody get in.
Are we ready for this already?
Whoa. Good job.
Yeah.
Are they ready for us?
Yeah.
There's some technical handbook. So do a good job, especially you, Carl, because you know.
It's a lot writing on you.
We're counting on you, Carl.
It's touch and go with you most nights.
He always is.
Handbook, 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 handbook.
It's your boy.
I know that a lot of people want to be doing what I'm doing, and I understand that it's an incredible privilege. And I know that you are the people that make it so that I get to do this. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for making this my life.
She was looking for some company, and he was walking off the stage. And you know how this story plays out, but you'll read it anyway. And by the time she sees his letter, we're 1,000 miles away. She wakes up in her own bedroom.
When you have someone like Ron come along and he has this big vision, I think it's the kind of thing that people will notice. People notice big gestures. They notice when there's inspiration behind things.
Taking pictures, and then I just stopped for a second and was like, holy shit, there are all these people here to see Ron. It's just fun watching him. I don't know. It's fun to see somebody that you love so much being able to realize their dreams and everything they've worked for and everything you've worked for, because you're working on the other side of things, and just everything really coming together in ways that you never really knew that it would when we took this chance to do it all together.
A different boy with a different name. And for a moment she is fallen, and for a second she is free. But in the morning she is empty, same way that she's always been. Sometimes
Almost 10 years after meeting Ron and Paul, thinking of wouldn't it be so incredible if in the future we were all making music together that people were excited about. This is pretty awesome, and it felt a lot like how I thought it would feel when I was 12, like just thinking about it.
I don't know if he's a sinner, but I'm sure he ain't no saint. So if you're looking for a lover, the kind of rain will wash away, then he is not your night at all, and this is not your